It's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Tuesday, September 20th. So today we will have the moon in Cancer move into the Leo energy. We have the moon going void, of course, around noontime, and will not be locking in to this Leo energy until about 4:38 p.m., again, Eastern Standard Time. So what we know is that that is a good chunk, a couple hours of the moon being void, of course, which means we have to expect a little bit of instability, a little bit of uncertainty and doubts creeping in, a little bit of the negative narrative trying to make its way back into our heart and head. But with the transition from the moon in Cancer to the moon in Leo, you best believe that that Leo energy is going to just sweep that negativity, those uncertainties, those doubts underneath the rug very, very quick. We're going to boss up. This is a fire energy. We need fire. There's not a whole lot of fire in the cosmos right now. This is going to remind us of our strengths, of our mission, of our purpose, of our passion. This is going to kind of trigger the boldness, the bravery, the courage that we need in order to stay aligned with our heart space, with the path that we chose back under the Lionsgate portal in August, and really just get real and authentic with our heart space, with what it is that actually makes us happy and what it is that we are now being triggered and activated in order to pursue. So we do have that to look forward to. There are 9 different aspects here today, and 7 of them involve the moon. Venus, right out of the gate, though, is going to trine, which is a beautiful energy, with Uranus, who is retrograde in Taurus energy. So Venus is in Virgo energy. Taurus and Virgo energy are both earth energies. So we're definitely grounded. We're definitely in this present moment. And we're definitely having some revelations on what it is that we need to either create, give birth to, bring to life in some way in order to provide us with a foundation in order for us to take care of ourselves. But here's the thing. This Uranian energy is a little bit spontaneous, where this Venus and Virgo energy is not spontaneous at all. And this is an attempt to kind of crack us wide open, to crack us out of our shell, to make us a little bit more open to change, to make us a little bit more, I'm going to say, open to looking outside of the parameters that we would normally define as our comfort zone, to see what is possible. Now, we do have this new interest coming in. Again, Venus being in Virgo is all about trying to return us to a state of wholeness, while this Uranian energy being retrograde in Taurus is trying to show us where it is that we're overly attached to the old, preventing spontaneities, preventing unexpected changes, preventing us from making a dramatic shift, a dramatic change to take on a different path, a different direction. So there is a lot of, I'm going to say, curiosity and impulse coming in with this energy that makes us just want to dabble outside of the comfort zone that we have created for ourselves. And you know, we're realizing now that if we continue to do all the things that we've been doing, that we're only ever going to get what it is that we've already got, that we do have to spice things up a bit, that we do have to open up a bit, we do have to adapt, we do have to experiment, we have to try new things, we have to even test the waters in the ways that we're going to start operating in our day-to-day lives to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, implementing new, routines, if you will, new health regimens, new exercise routines. This is about what do we need to do in order to return ourselves to a state of happiness and wholeness, and recognizing that even though we've been praying for change, that we have been blocking the changes that we know that we need to make. So it's almost like this little energy here is kind of, I'm going to say, showing us where it is we need to be a little bit more open, a little bit more freer with our thoughts, with our feelings, with our ways about going about our tasks, our chores. We need to kind of understand that there's a lot of, I'm going to say, interest that's being sparked for us to step outside of our comfort zones and explore, experiment a little bit with love, with money, and with taking care of ourselves. The moon again, still very much in this Cancer energy, is going to trine, which is a beautiful energy, with Neptune, who is retrograde in Pisces. So we have the moon in Cancer, which is water on water, and we have Neptune retrograde in Pisces, which is water on water. There's a lot of water. What do we know about water? Well, water is emotions. Water is about intuition. Water is how we transform, how we change. Why is that? Well, because water is able to take on different forms. It can be a liquid, it can be a solid, it could be a gas. And that is how we alchemize through our emotional state, changing from a fluid, from a solid to a gas, and then back again. And the moon kind of trining with Neptune means that our intuition is coming through very, very loud. There is a lot of creativity that can be downloaded in our higher octaves of our, I'm going to say, our higher mental plane, where dreams, creativity, visions, intuitive insight, psychic abilities, where all of these things start popping off. And because Neptune is retrograde in Pisces, this is almost like, what kind of dreams did you have as a kid that, you had to put away into a closet because somebody told you that you couldn't make any money off of those particular dreams? Or what kind of ideas, inspirations have you had that you didn't follow through with? Now, the moon in Cancer wants us to kind of nurture those particular dreams, those ideas, those inspirations. Neptune, who is retrograde in Pisces, just wants us to go inward and just align with our intuition. Again, this is a perfect opportunity. Mercury is retrograde. We have to lean further into our spiritual selves at this particular point in order to identify a vision, a dream, a goal that our heart, our soul is being activated and triggered to actually want to pursue. This is where new purpose and new missions come up. This is also when we start realizing the cleansing, the purging process that we've been going through in our emotions, kind of clearing out the junk in order to see what is left. And it's a great time for us to start piecing together some of the aha moments that we're having, not in our head space, but in our heart space, in our soul space. The moon is going to sit opposite of Pluto, though. This is where things get a little bit, I'm going to say, tension filled. The moon in Cancer. Cancer, of course, sits across from Capricorn energy that Pluto, the great transformer, is retrograde in. This is likely going to bring, I'm going to say, a swift kick of negativity into the positive vibes that we were just sitting in with the earlier aspects. And what I will also say is that this is a time where we have to feel the uncomfortability of our emotions, of our memories, of our thoughts, in order to see where it is that we've been holding on too tightly to the past, where it is we've been romanticizing the past, where it is that we are so desperately holding on to the old topics and themes of our old version of ourselves and our old realities that we're actually not standing in our power. We're not stepping up and taking control over our lives. And we're essentially refusing to go through the transformation process that we're all currently going through. So the moon sitting across from Pluto is definitely going to, I'm going to say, heighten the negative thoughts, the negative emotions. But again, Pluto, the great transformer, likes to do a deep dive in our psyche to pluck out all of those shadow elements so that we can see it from a different light. We can nurture ourselves back to a different emotional understanding or perspective of situations of the past in order for us to be empowered once again. Keep in mind that empowerment usually comes from feeling your weakest weak point, your most vulnerable point, your most pain, your most trauma, your most suffering. That's how we find our strength, how we find our power. And a lot of people avoid, sitting in the pain, sitting in the suffering, sitting in the trauma, because of course it doesn't feel good, but you're only prolonging your realization on how powerful you actually are, how much control in your life you actually have over your reality. So this particular aspect likely isn't going to feel good. But is absolutely necessary because it's going to lead to an aha moment, which, of course, having those aha moments, those light bulb moments, give us another piece to the puzzle on how it is that we're going to move forward. And that's exactly what this particular aspect provides us with, because only about an hour after the moon sits across from Pluto, the moon goes ahead and makes a very positive interaction with the true node, our soul's path, our destiny point, the path that we need to get on to actually move forward. So this is a clear indication that sitting in that funk, having those realizations, examining the pain and the suffering is empowering because we've made a choice. We've made a choice to boss up. We've made a choice to realize where it is that we need more safety, security, stability in our lives, where it is we need to nurture ourselves back to a state of happiness and wholeness. And because we've realized this, because we're bossing up, we've made a choice, we've made a decision to actually move forward in a different direction. That's where the true node comes in. There's a whole lot of growth happening here. There's a whole lot of improvement happening here, especially where the power that we have over our emotions is concerned. The moon sextiles the sun. This is at 11:57 a.m. This is the last aspect that the moon in Cancer will make before going void, of course. Anytime we have an aspect between the moon and the sun, it's like we are split down the middle. The moon represents our emotions, our intuition, very much connected to the past. And the sun is our life force energy, shining a bright light on what it is that we have to kind of pick up, what we have to adopt in the here and now if we stand a chance in hell of actually building a different / better future for ourselves. So a sextile is a good energy. It means that these energies are blending together to give us an aha moment, because what's left between the past and the future is this present moment. And the present moment is showing us where it is that the sun in Virgo is saying, okay, we've analyzed in our mental plane, in our heart space, and in our physical realm, our materialistic realm, what isn't working, what is broken, what doesn't feel safe, what doesn't feel secure, what doesn't feel stable in our lives. We've examined it. We know where the problem is. Now we're coming up with solutions. The moon in Cancer wants to take care of our inner child, wants to nurture ourselves back to a place of safety, security, and stability, emotionally speaking. And I feel like the moon and the sun coming together in this way is like an emotional shift for us, an intuitive shift for us on recognizing where it is that we have to put ourselves back at the top of the list, pour all that we have into our own cup first and foremost before going ahead and sharing our filled cup with other people. So this is a positive thing. This is a revelation of sort. This is a plan in the making on what it is that we are going to do moving forward to be a little bit more disciplined in making sure that we're making the time in our day-to-day lives to take care of ourselves. That mind, the body, that soul equation needs to be equal. It needs to be balanced. It needs to be stable before we go ahead and start dispersing our love, time, energy, and attention to other people in the world. So this is where the moon goes void. And again, expect a little bit of instability, expect a little bit of chaos, confusion, and craziness. Definitely some emotional triggers taking place. At 4:12, just moments before we have the moon locking into this Leo energy, Venus is going to go ahead and bump into Saturn. So we have the goddess of love and beauty and worth and pleasure and money squaring off, well, it's not exactly a square, but creating a tension, enough tension with Mr. Saturn, who is the Lord of Karma, ruling over our roles and our responsibilities in life, who is retrograde in Aquarian energy. And let me just say that this is going to not feel so good. Why? Well, it's because we feel torn. We feel torn between our different desires, our different choice points, our different missions, our different purposes. We have, two situations maybe popping off in our lives that need our 100% energy and attention that we just don't know which one to give our time and energy to. We're seeing the difference in our own viewpoints, our own perspectives, our own understandings, and we will likely see that clash be projected and manifested in our particular relationships as well. We're being kind of torn because one part of us, the Venus part, really just wants us to be happy and healthy and whole and wants us to enjoy ourselves and, nurture ourselves. But then Mr. Saturn's over here reminding us of the responsibilities and commitments that we've made that we have to honor, which means that they're probably not as fun as what, Venus had planned for us. And we're kind of at a standstill. We're at a tug of war because we know we have commitments and obligations that we have to fulfill, but we're really not in the mood. We feel like because we're shifting our perspective on understanding where it is that we haven't been appreciating our own selves, where we haven't been pouring into ourselves, that the obligations and commitments to ourselves should be just as important as the obligations and commitments that we've made with other people. And it feels like we are kind of I'm going to say at a roadblock where we don't know how to terminate or end or change some of the roles and routines and obligations and commitments that we've made to other people. And we also don't know how to build a new discipline, a new routine to take care and honor and commit to ourselves. So it's almost like there's this push and pull going on here today. And it could lead to, I'm going to say, a conflict and a confrontation within ourselves, but that energy could also manifest in our personal relationships. Maybe we want to do something for ourselves today, but the people in our lives are putting us through a guilt trip because we promised to do said things with them, or whatever the case may be. We have to just understand that we are going through this conflict, this inner tension, this inner tug of war, if you will, in order to find balance. And when we talk about balance, we talk about Mercury being retrograde in Libra. We also talk about the balance coming with the equinox, which is just a couple of days away. And if you listen to the ascension forecast for this week, that you would know that we are going to hit an intense, extreme energy in the final days of this season, of this energy, of the Virgo energy, but also the season that we are ending as we are about to begin a brand new cycle once the equinox hits. So if you haven't listened to that forecast, I'm going to recommend you do so, because things are about to get tense. Things are about to pop off. So then the moon moves into Leo energy. This is good for us. We're getting a little bit of pep in our step. We're trying to get aligned with our heart space. Again, tapping into that bold, brave courage that we need in order to boss up and stay true to ourselves and, stay the course in order to do what is right for our soul's mission, our soul's purpose. But the moon, shortly after moving into Leo energy, is going to bump into Uranus. Lucky for us, this is a positive interaction. And here's the thing. As you know, Uranus, the Great Awakener, is retrograde in Taurus energy, taking us inward on a journey for us to examine what it is that we're overly attached to, what it is that we're afraid of losing, what it is we're afraid of changing, but yet still praying every freaking day for change that we just won't we won't stand up and try to help ourselves to create. So the moon in Leo is here actively being the brave lion that the Leo energy is, in order to, again, muster up the courage and the bravery that we need in order to identify where those fears and those attachments are, so that we can stay true to our heart and our soul and recognize that, you know what, change is the only thing in life that we can count on. And change doesn't all have to be bad. And that the moon in Leo needs us to be fired up and passionate about something to override the fear, the doubts, the insecurities that we have about the change and the transformation that we know we need to make. The moon goes ahead and semi-squares Mars, which is a little bit of a tension point, because the moon in Leo wants us to move forward, wants us to charge ahead, wants us to take action, wants us to express ourselves and put ourselves out there. While Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desire, is in Gemini energy, on the intellectual battlefield, if you will, trying to sort through what ideas need to stay, what ideas need to go, what I'm angry about, what I need to speak truth about, what I need to, get off my chest, where I need to take action to pursue certain ideas. The conflict that is coming here is that the moon in Leo wants to take action now. Mars wants to take action now. The Gemini energy will not let us do that, because we need a clear plan, a clear strategy. It needs to make sense. It needs to be logical, needs to be practical. So the semi-square is a tension because our heart wants us to pursue something right now that our physical body and our physical realm is not supporting us doing right now. That creates frustration. it creates all kinds of cluster Fs in our heart space and in our head space, and it agitates us right to the core. So we do have to be mindful on how that energy is going to manifest, because we could be very sharp with our tongue. Again, Mars being in Gemini, the weapon of choice is our tongue, is our words. And we don't want to pop off and make a mess for ourselves. And just keep in mind that the moon in Leo, super expressive, but if we're not thinking logically and practically about our truth and what it is that we're actually trying to communicate, again, with Mercury being retrograde, it's likely going to come out as an absolute shit show and create more drama than there actually needs to be. The moon is going to sextile Mercury, though. This is a beautiful energy because it means that we are actively working to get our heart and our head on the same page. It also means that there is a huge opportunity, especially within our personal relationships, to have the heart-to-heart conversations that we've been avoiding in order to clear the air. Now, granted, miscommunications, misunderstandings are still at an all-time high with Mercury being retrograde, but opening up, being vulnerable, that moon in Leo, very expressive, very authentic, very raw in our emotions and our heart space, aligning with our truest selves, getting off of our chest what it is that we've been biting our tongue about. Again, the Mercury in Libra energy is people pleasing. We don't want to really speak up and out and speak our truth and express ourselves. We like to keep things light and fluffy. The moon in Leo wants passion, wants authenticity, wants realness, wants the depths of emotion that Mercury retrograde in Libra does not want to dabble in. But this is a positive aspect, which means that if you are bold and brave enough to truly stand in your power, in your truth, and express yourself with confidence and clarity, that this could just be the conversation needed in order to resolve some conflict and some confrontations in relationships, and to basically extend that olive branch and make an attempt to clear the air and to make peace. Do not expect that this is going to be resolved all in one conversation. Do not expect that you will not have to revisit the same topics and themes and rehash this conversation out in a couple of weeks when Mercury does go direct. But opening up, being raw and real and vulnerable and expressive with your truth, with your heart, with your passion, with your soul, is the very first step of finding peace and balance and harmony, not only within yourself, but in the relationships around you.